The story kicks off with Danby, a senior high school student who's only a few days away from her big university entrance exam. But there's a catch. She's absolutely hopeless when it comes to math. She can't stay awake during math class, and it drives her teacher crazy. One day, he calls her to the blackboard, hoping she'll solve a problem. But just like always, she's got nothing. Frustrated, he embarrasses her in front of the whole class. Back home, instead of cracking open a book, Danby's glued to her phone and jamming to music. Her mom watches her with disappointment and jokes that if Danby memorized math formulas like she memorizes song lyrics, she'd be a genius by now. She even teases that Danby must have gotten her poor math skills from her father and warns her that no university will accept her like this. But the final straw for Danby is when her mom switches the TV to her favorite historical drama. Fed up, Danby storms out and heads to her best friend's place. There, her friend gives her another reality check. This exam is Danby's last shot. If she messes this up, there's no backup plan. The next morning, Danby wakes up late and rushes out the door. Her mom gives her a last push of encouragement, telling her to do her best and get into a good school. On the bus, Danby nervously tries to study math, doing last-minute cramming. She jumps off the bus and dashes toward the exam hall, only to realize she forgot her umbrella. Rain pours down as she hesitates at the gate, paralyzed by fear. The anxiety gets too real. She's not ready. She finds a quiet corner and sits down in the rain, overwhelmed and hopeless. That's when something strange happens. She notices a shallow puddle near her feet, and when she steps toward it, everything changes. She suddenly sees people wearing traditional clothes gathered in prayer, begging for rain. They claim it hasn't rained in 3 years, and people are dying from the drought. Before she can make sense of it, Danby slips and falls into the puddle, but instead of drowning, she ends up in what seems to be a completely different world. Confused, she starts asking people around her if they're filming a drama or something, but the king sees her and, alarmed by her strange words, demands to know if she's a demon. Danby nervously insists she's just a high school student, but the way she says it sounds like some kind of spell to the locals. The guards draw their swords, surrounding her. Panicking, she blurts out, "I know why I'm here. God, please send the rain." The people around her start repeating her words like a holy chant, and the moment they look up, she's gone. She's already made a run for it. She finds ceremonial robes and disguises herself as a priest, sneaking into a royal gathering. There, the king announces that superstitions must end and science and math are the way forward. But the high priest disagrees. He calls math a false belief and claims the only way to bring back rain is a sacred ritual between the king and queen. Danby tries to retrieve her phone, but gets caught again. Awaiting the king's judgment, she thinks maybe if it rains, she can find her way back home. But then the king shocks her. He says it hasn't rained in 3 years, and he's not impressed by her. In fact, he declares she should be executed. Panicked, she pleads with him, explaining she's from the future. She claims she knows history, and when that doesn't work, she tosses in that she's also a math genius. That gets his attention. He gives her a math problem, Pythagorean theorem, and surprisingly, she solves it fast. The king is amazed. He says even his scholars take 3 days to get that answer. Eventually, she's challenged to a math battle against a rival musician. If she fails, she faces punishment. She even dares to hit the king when he messes up, which almost gets her killed. Until the king bursts out laughing and calls off his guards. They pretend to practice music whenever the queen shows up, hiding their math sessions. One day, seeing that Danby's starving, the king invites her to eat with him. She doesn't like the royal food, so she cooks him spicy instant noodles. He loves it, even the heat. But the next morning, the whole palace hears him screaming. He thinks she cursed him and slaps a protective charm on his ear. Danby laughs it off. "Relax, superstar. It's just the chili." When she tells him it's all stomach-related, he's confused, so she explains everything: intestines, heart, even pulse. He says he doesn't feel anything. She smiles and tells him, "One day, when you're with someone you love, you'll feel it." Inspired by her brilliance, the king orders her to teach all the royal scholars, not just math, but science and agriculture too. One evening, he offers her a tangerine, and when she casually says thanks, he gets upset, saying fruits like that are rare blessings in Joseon and should be cherished. She laughs it off. It's just a tangerine. Later, they play ball in the courtyard, and Danby gets him to run for the first time in years. But the next day, at a dinner with his future bride, he reveals that a love potion will be slipped into his food that night. That potion mistakenly ends up in Danby's meal. She starts acting weird and passes out. When she wakes up, she panics, apologizing to the king. He assures her nothing happened. They take a walk, and he says that if she completes her mission, she'll earn high status and a horse. But she insists she just wants to return home when the rain comes. He tells her, "Then don't treat me like a king. Let's be equals." But then, everything falls apart. Danby is accused of mocking the king and is tortured. The king rushes in to save her, arguing with the priests. The high priest demands she prove her worth. If it doesn't rain in 2 weeks, she'll be executed. Danby doesn't quit. She works harder, builds a rain gauge with help from the musician, and finally, rain falls. Danby is overwhelmed. The king, remembering her promise to leave, finds her crying. He tells her a ship is ready to take her to Ming, but she says no. She's tired of running. But danger isn't over. The palace musician, secretly working for the priest, is ordered to kill her, but instead, he helps her escape. He admits he's known she's a girl all along, but promises to keep it secret. She explains she had no choice. She took a job meant for a boy. Meanwhile, the priest urges the king to destroy everything Danby taught them, including the new writing system. The king refuses. He rides out to find her. In the forest, guards catch up. The musician defends her. The queen herself arrives, bleeding and desperate. Danby keeps walking, confused at a fork in the road. Then she remembers the king's words. The sun is Joseon's clock. She follows the sunlight to the ocean, and there, the king is waiting. They sit under the stars. She tells him in the future, "You only see the brightest stars." He replies, "That's because you're only looking for them. The others were always there, you just weren't seeing them." He confesses he loves her. He wants to create a writing system for everyone, not just nobles. She pulls out her future money and sees his face on the bill. That's when she knows he will succeed. One day, she finds the queen secretly eating because she's forbidden from gaining weight. Danby shares her instant noodles, and the two become friends. Soon, the queen tells the king everything about Danby being a girl. The queen mother already knows, too. Danby is suddenly being dressed and prepared for something big. She panics when she realizes they're preparing her to sleep with the king. She runs. The king finds her, grabs her arm, and pulls her inside. She protests, "You said we were friends. I'm only 19. He replies, "You're not a kid anymore. But don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. I just need you to stay here tonight, for appearances." He's under pressure from the court. The next morning, Danby visits the musician. He asks, "Do you really want to go back to your world?" She doesn't answer. She's torn. The queen comes and tells her someone wants to see her. Inside the palace, Danby meets the queen mother, who looks just like her real mom. Danby breaks down crying. That night, the king shows her the astronomical system she helped design. Then he reveals the new 28-letter alphabet meant to simplify learning. He places the royal hairpin on her head, a marriage proposal. She cries and says no. "I promised I'd return when the rain came. My mom is waiting." The king loses his temper. "Fine, go back to your perfect future. We're nothing to you." He storms off. As she stands alone, someone attacks her. She's stabbed, and the hall is set on fire. The king runs into the flames to save her. The book she brought from the future had protected her. The next day, the king confronts the priest. The priest admits everything. He says, if young people start thinking freely, it'll destroy tradition. The king says, I want to build a future where people dream freely. Eventually, the rain returns. Danby says goodbye to everyone. The king walks her to the pond. She steps in and disappears, just like before. Back in her world, only a few seconds have passed. The exam hasn't started. She runs to the hall and takes the test. That evening, she returns home and hugs her mom tightly. Everything about her has changed. Months later, it rains again. As Danby walks outside, someone holds an umbrella over her head. She looks up and sees a familiar face. It's him, the king. But he simply smiles and says, we met a long time ago. You dropped your umbrella. And that's where the story ends. If you enjoyed the recap, tell us your thoughts in the comments and let us know which movie or series we should break down next.